The Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did.
You ever feel like you're being lied to by the celebrities you look up to? Katt Williams felt that way for years, and now he's finally speaking out. He's exposing the fake personas, the stolen material, and the dark secrets Hollywood doesn't want you to know. This isn't just another celebrity beef. It's about integrity in an industry that's lost its way, and if you've ever felt like something was off about your favorite stars, you're not alone. Katt's here to confirm your suspicions, and then some.
I mean, but you know, some of these people...
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. I almost died. And I gotta read this script from all these good white people.
So Katt Williams just dropped a truth bomb on Hollywood, and let me tell you, it's messy. He's not just throwing shade, he's naming names and exposing all the dirty secrets celebs thought they could keep hidden. And boy, is it juicy. First off, Katt's saying comedians are stealing jokes left and right. Like, seriously? Is everyone in Hollywood just a copycat now? It's like they can't come up with their own material anymore. Makes you wonder how many of those hilarious bits you love were actually swiped from someone else. But that's not even the craziest part. Katt's claiming some of the biggest names in comedy are straight up plants. Yeah, you heard that right. He's saying these so-called stars didn't earn their fame. They were handpicked and groomed by the industry. It's like they're growing comedians in some secret Hollywood lab or something.
There being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show.
And Katt's not playing around. He's calling people out by name, pointing fingers like it's a game of Hollywood hot potato. No one's safe from his truth-telling spree. You gotta give him credit for having the guts to do it though. Most celebs would be too scared of burning bridges. But here's the thing, is Katt just stirring up drama for attention, or is he actually onto something? It's hard to tell in this crazy world of showbiz. Maybe he's just bitter, or maybe he's the only one brave enough to speak up. You gotta wonder. One thing's for sure though, Katt's not in it for the money. He's got stories about turning down millions of dollars because he didn't want to sell out. That's some real integrity right there. In a world where everyone seems to have a price, Katt's saying his principles aren't for sale. So did Katt really call out Kevin Hart as a Hollywood plant? You bet he did. He's not pulling any punches.
He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast. Do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words.
But this is just the beginning. Katt's got more wild claims about the comedy scene that'll make your head spin. Buckle up, because this ride's about to get even crazier. Kevin Hart might be a plant, but at least the guy delivers his own material, right? Wrong. According to Katt, even the jokes you're laughing at might be hot property. He's got a story about Cedric the Entertainer that'll make you question everything you've ever chuckled at. Is nothing sacred in Hollywood anymore? Katt's throwing around some serious accusations, saying jokes are getting stolen left and right. You know that killer punchline you love from your favorite comedian? Yeah, Katt's saying it might not be theirs. It's like the whole comedy world is just one big recycling bin, and he's not just talking in general terms.
How it don't line up that I did it on TV in 2018? You came to see me at the Comedy Store do it in 2019. Cedric did the same thing. Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams' joke? Yeah. He said it don't line up.
Katt's got a whole story about Cedric the Entertainer. He says Cedric straight up lifted one of his best bits. We're talking about a signature closing joke that Katt spent years perfecting. He even got input from other comedians to make it better. Katt says he performed it on Comic View back in '98, and the crowd loved it. But here's where it gets messy. Cedric's not taking this lying down. He's saying Katt's got his timeline all mixed up. Cedric claims he did the joke on TV in 2018, while Katt didn't do it until 2019. So who's telling the truth here? It's like a comedy version of he said, he said. Katt's not buying Cedric's story though. He's calling him a liar, saying Cedric's just trying to protect his brand. It's getting real nasty, real fast. But Katt's not just talking about one-off jokes. He's saying there's a whole system of theft going on. He's talking about this comedy alliance with guys like Cedric, Steve Harvey, and others. Katt says it's all about ego and fame, and if you challenge them, you might get blackballed. It's like a comedy mafia or something. You gotta wonder, if this is true, how many of our favorite comedy specials are just remixes? Are we laughing at original jokes, or are we just hearing the same stolen material over and over? So is Katt saying Cedric the Entertainer stole his jokes? You bet he is, and he's not mincing words about it. But this isn't just about Katt and Cedric, it's about the whole industry. Katt's painting a picture of a comedy world where originality is rare and theft is common, and just when you think you've heard it all, Katt drops another bombshell about the industry that'll make your jaw drop. Turns out the world of stand-up might be a lot less funny than we thought. So Katt's spilling tea about stolen jokes, but that's just the appetizer. Now he's serving up the main course, and it's a lot harder to swallow. Ever wonder why some celebs seem to sell out overnight? Katt's got a theory, and it ain't pretty.
Sitting here doing this interview that you hold in very high regard as Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle walked away from 50 million. You said it was more. Tell the story.
They offered him 50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down 50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times.
Katt's talking about turning down some serious cash. We're not talking chump change here, folks. He says he's had to say no to 50 million 4 times. That's enough money to make most people forget their own name, let alone their principles. But Katt? He's not having it. You gotta wonder, what could be worth more than that kind of dough in Tinseltown? Katt says it's all about keeping his soul. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't think souls were still in stock in Hollywood. Guess Katt's proving us wrong. And get this, Katt claims he turned down Soul Plane before Kevin Hart got it. Yeah, that Soul Plane. The one with all those over-the-top stereotypes that had people cringing in their seats. Katt says he took one look at that script and was like, nah, I'm good. He felt it wasn't doing black culture any favors. And you know what? Maybe he had a point. But here's the thing, Katt's not just talking about himself, he's pointing fingers at the whole industry. He's saying that if you want to make it big in Hollywood, you gotta be ready to sell a piece of yourself. It's like some kind of twisted game show where the grand prize is fame, but the cost, well, that's your integrity. Brandon T. Jackson, another comedian, backs Katt up on this. He says a lot of those male superstars you see, they didn't get there by being nice guys. Nah, he's talking about stealing jokes, selling souls, and even dressing up as women for laughs. It's like Hollywood's got its own playbook for success, and it ain't pretty. You gotta give Katt credit. He's not the only one saying no to big money.
And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Like, no, not they offered him 50 million and he turned it down. Yeah, that wasn't the thing. It wasn't. People say that. He lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right.
Remember when Dave Chappelle walked away from 50 million? People thought he was crazy. But maybe, just maybe, these guys are onto something. Maybe there's more to life than a fat paycheck and a star on the Walk of Fame. So next time you're watching your favorite celeb on the big screen, ask yourself, what did they have to do to get there? And is it really worth it? Katt's got his answer. What's yours? Ever wonder how some comedians always seem to have fresh material? Like, how do they do it? Well, Katt Williams has a theory, and it's about to blow your mind. He's saying that some of your favorite stand-ups ain't even writing their own jokes. Yeah, you heard that right. Ghostwriters in comedy. It's wild. Katt's not just talking about a few lazy comedians here and there. He's saying it's a whole system designed to control what we laugh at. It's like some big conspiracy or something. And get this, he's calling out a group he calls the Joe Rogan Six. Says they're part of this whole ghostwriting setup. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? But here's the thing, it's not just about comedians being too lazy to write their own stuff. Katt's saying it goes deeper than that. It's about controlling the narrative, deciding what jokes get told and who gets to tell them. It's like some shadowy figures are pulling the strings behind the scenes, deciding what we should find funny. You gotta ask yourself, if this is true, what does it mean for comedy? Is anything real anymore? Like, when you're watching a stand-up special, are you laughing at the comedian's jokes or some ghostwriters? It's kinda messed up when you think about it. And it's not just in comedy. This ghostwriting thing is everywhere in entertainment. Music, movies, you name it. But in comedy, that's supposed to be personal, you know? It's supposed to be the comedian's thoughts, their experiences. If they're just reading someone else's words, what's the point? Katt's saying this whole thing is making comedy less authentic. It's not about connecting with the audience anymore. It's about chasing fame and clout. And that's sad, isn't it? Comedy's supposed to be real, raw, not some manufactured product. So is ghostwriting in comedy really as big a problem as Katt says? I mean, he's not holding back. He's naming names and pointing fingers, but you gotta wonder, is he just bitter or is he onto something? Either way, it's got people talking, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we need to take a closer look at what's going on behind the curtain in the comedy world. And just when you think Katt's done dropping truth bombs, he's got one last thing to say that'll turn everything you know about comedy upside down. But that's a story for another time. So there you have it, folks. Katt Williams just spilled all the tea on Hollywood and the comedy world. He's calling out joke thieves, exposing plants, and talking about ghostwriters in comedy. It's wild stuff, right? But here's the thing, is Katt telling it like it is, or is he just bitter? That's for you to decide. Some people are backing him up, like Brandon T. Jackson. He's saying Katt's onto something about the dark side of Hollywood, but others, they're not buying it. They think Katt's just stirring up drama. One thing's for sure though, after hearing all this, you're gonna look at stand-up differently. Next time you're watching your favorite comedian, you might wonder, are those really their jokes? Did they really earn their spot? It's kinda messed up when you think about it. But hey, that's showbiz for you. It ain't always pretty. Katt's just pulling back the curtain and showing us what's behind it. Whether you believe him or not, you gotta admit, it's one hell of a show.